Lord Pearce is worried that without normal political activity in Rhodesia, his commissioners will find it difficult to get any sensible reaction to the settlement proposals, whether yes or no. His concern was justified when the two commissioners for North Mashonaland visited Masampa, a remote fishing village on the shores of Lake Kariba. Most of the villagers were out fishing. Only 8 of them sat down under a tree to listen through an interpreter to what the men from London had to say. Both Mr. Burgess and Mr. Harrison are ex-district commissioners from Zambia and Swaziland, but though they were used to speaking to unsophisticated tribesmen, they found it an impossible task to explain the enormously complex proposals to these villagers who said they never even heard of the dispute between Britain and Rhodesia. Giving up the attempt to explain the settlement terms, even in outline, the commissioners asked whether an African government should come at once or more slowly. It could not happen quickly, one tribesman replied, for a man awakened from a deep sleep does not at first see clearly. With that, the commissioners had to be satisfied. There was clearly no point in talking to the women, who sat at a respectful distance from the men. Before the team left, it handed out copies of a booklet explaining the settlement terms, in the hope that 1 or 2 of the men with some primary education might be able to explain things to the others. A slightly more sophisticated audience awaited the commissioners at Bumi further along the lake shore, large enough to justify a formal presentation of the terms, and the questions were more searching. How could most Africans ever hope to earn enough to qualify for the new higher voters roll, which would increase their representation in Parliament? Why did Britain not wait until African majority rule had been achieved before settling with Mr. Smith? Were the proposals guaranteed to do anything at all to improve the Africans' economic situation? Though the chief sat in front and the European District Commissioner hovered behind, the younger men didn't seem inhibited in asking their questions. They were clearly sceptical of the terms offered. But the commissioners did not ask for a yes or no vote because they thought the older men might be unwilling to speak while the chiefs remained silent. At some meetings, intimidation by nationalists has prevented anyone giving their opinion in private. I asked Mr. Harrison if intimidation had reached such a pitch as to invalidate any real assessment of African opinion.
Well, I think it has made it very difficult for us to assess whether the purely vocal response we have had is a result of a genuine, heartfelt reply to our request for their views, or whether it is simply a well-drilled answer to a predetermined instruction from those who wish them to answer in that way. It's very difficult for us to say.
It hasn't made it impossible for you to work.
I think there would be a bit of each involved.